I am 86 years old. For over 6 decades, I sat behind a desk and counted money. Millions, billions, numbers so large, most people will never see them in their lifetime. I counted other people's fortunes. I protected them. I grew them. I advised men and women on how to secure their financial future. And I was good at it. Everyone said so. But here is what no one tells you about a life spent counting money. You forget to count the years. I don't mean that as a saying. I mean it literally. I would sit down at my desk on a Monday morning, and when I looked up again, it was a decade later. My children had grown. My wife's hair had turned white, and I had missed it. Not because I was a bad man, not because I didn't love them, but because I told myself the same lie every single day. Later. I'll be there later. There is still time. I thought I had time. I was wrong. If you are watching this right now and you are somewhere between 20 and 60 years old, stop, please, because what I'm about to tell you is the one thing I wish someone had told me before I wasted the best years of my life chasing numbers that never once asked me how I was doing. I am 86 years old. My hands shake when I hold a pen now. And the most painful part? I can still calculate compound interest in my head, but I cannot get back a single Sunday I missed. Not one. I grew up with nothing. My father worked in a textile mill. My mother sewed clothes at home to make ends meet. We were not poor in the way that breaks people, but we knew the weight of an empty wallet. We knew what it felt like to say no to things, not because we didn't want them, but because we simply couldn't afford them. So when I was 17, I made a decision. I told myself, I will never feel that helplessness again. I studied harder than anyone I knew. I skipped social gatherings. I skipped sleep. I skipped being young, though I didn't realize that until much later. At 24, I got my first job at a small regional bank. It was nothing glamorous. I was counting cash, filing documents, doing the work no one else wanted to do. But I did it with everything I had. Because in my mind, every hour I worked was one step further from poverty. And slowly, it worked. By 30, I had my first promotion. By 38, I was managing a branch. By 45, I was being flown to meetings in other cities. Men in expensive suits were asking for my opinion. My signature was on documents worth more than my entire neighborhood growing up. I had done it, or so I believed. My wife, Miriam, she used to wait up for me at night. In the early years, she would have dinner warm on the table. She never complained. She believed in me the way only a few people in your life ever truly will. But somewhere around year 10, she stopped waiting up. I noticed. I told myself it was fine. She was tired. The children needed her. I told myself I would make it up to her. I thought I had time. My son, Daniel, he had a football match when he was 9 years old. His first real match. He had been talking about it for weeks. He had even written my name on a small piece of paper and put it in his shoe. For luck, he said. I found out about that piece of paper 15 years later. I wasn't at that match. There was an emergency at the bank. A client. A crisis. Something that felt in that moment like the most important thing in the world. I don't even remember what it was now, but I remember that Daniel never asked me to come to another match again. He just stopped asking. And I told myself he understands. He knows I'm doing this for the family. Children don't need explanations. They need presence. And I gave mine to a building made of glass and marble, to people who replaced me the moment I retired, without so much as a pause. The cracks were there. I just refused to look at them, because looking at them meant admitting something I wasn't ready to face, that the life I was building so carefully, so deliberately, was missing the only things that actually mattered. I was 67 years old when the doctor used the word serious. Not fatal, not immediately dangerous, but serious. My heart, he said, was showing signs of strain. Years of stress, poor sleep, skipped meals eaten at a desk, they had added up quietly the way debt does when you ignore it. He told me to slow down. I went back to work the next morning, because that is what I knew. That is what I was. A banker does not slow down. A banker shows up. A banker is reliable, consistent, always there. For the money, always there for the money. That same week, Miriam sat across from me at the dinner table, the same table we had eaten at for 30 years, and she said something I will never forget. She said, I feel like I have been living alone, even when you are sitting right here. She wasn't angry when she said it. That was the part that broke me. She was just tired, tired in the way that has no cure. The kind of tired that comes from waiting too long for something that never arrives. I opened my mouth to explain, to justify, to tell her about the promotions, the security, the life I had built for us. And then I stopped. Because sitting there, in the silence of that kitchen, something cracked open inside me. I realized she wasn't asking for an explanation. She had stopped asking for anything. And that was worse. I thought back to Daniel, who now lived in another city, who called on birthdays, who was polite in the careful way that people are polite when warmth has been replaced by distance. I thought about my daughter, Sarah, who had once followed me around the house like a shadow, who used to fall asleep on my shoulder, who now hugged me briefly at Christmas and looked slightly relieved when the visit was over. I had provided for them. I had given them everything money could give, and somewhere along the way they had quietly, gently learned to live without me. Not out of cruelty, out of necessity. Because I was never really there. I was present in the house, but absent in the ways that count. That night, I sat in my chair by the window for a very long time. No phone, no files, no numbers. Just the unbearable stillness of a man finally meeting the truth he had been running from for 40 years. I had spent my entire life making sure my family would never lack for anything. And in doing so, I had made them lack for the one thing money cannot buy: me. Not my salary, not my reputation, me. And I understood in that moment with a clarity that felt like cold water on an open wound. Later never came. It had never been coming. Later was just a word I used to protect myself from the guilt of choosing work over the people I loved. Every single time. I wept that night. For the first time in perhaps 30 years, I wept. Not for the life I had lost, but for the lives of the people I loved that I had made smaller, quietly, without ever meaning to. Let me tell you something that took me 60 years to understand. We lie to ourselves constantly, beautifully, convincingly, and the most dangerous lie, the one that costs us everything, is this: the people who love me will always be there. We say it without saying it. We live it without noticing it. We treat the people closest to us like they are permanent, like they are walls, like they will still be standing no matter how many times we walk past them without stopping. And we treat our work like it is urgent, like it is fragile, like if we step away for one evening, one weekend, one childhood football match, everything will collapse. I was wrong about all of it. The bank never collapsed when I went home late, but something at home collapsed slowly, quietly, every time I chose not to be there. You see, I understood money better than almost anyone. I knew that every asset has a maintenance cost. If you neglect it, it deteriorates. If you ignore it long enough, it loses its value entirely. I knew this about money. I did not apply it to my marriage. I did not apply it to my children. I did not apply it to myself because I believed, the way so many of you believe right now, that love is unconditional, that family is permanent, that the people who chose you will keep choosing you, no matter how little you show up. Sometimes they do. Miriam stayed. She is still here, sitting in the next room as I speak these words. But staying is not the same as thriving, and enduring is not the same as being happy. She stayed, but a version of her left a long time ago. The version that used to look at me the way she looked at me when we were young. That version left quietly, without announcement, somewhere in the middle of all those late nights I chose the office over our kitchen table. I lost her, not all at once, but piece by piece. And I was too busy counting other people's money to notice. Here is the truth I want you to hear. Not as a banker, not as an old man. As someone who has stood at the end of a long road and looked back. Your career will replace you. The moment you retire, someone younger will sit in your chair. They will use your systems, improve on your methods, and within a year, the office will feel as though you were never there. I have seen it happen to others. I told myself I was different. I was not different. But your family, your real family, cannot replace you. There is only one version of you that your child gets to call their father. Only one version of you that your partner chose to build a life with. Only one version of you that your parents needed before they were gone. And time does not pause while you finish your work. It moves. Every single day it moves. I thought I had time. You think you have time. We all think we have time. That is the cruelest illusion of a busy life. The feeling that there is always tomorrow, always next month, always after this project, after this promotion, after this quarter ends. But I am 86 years old, and I am telling you, from a place most of you cannot yet see, tomorrow is not guaranteed. And even if it comes, the moment that passed will not come back inside it. Your child will not be 7 again. Your parents will not be healthy again. Your partner will not look at you the way they once did, not if you keep making them feel invisible. Time does not owe you a second chance. It simply moves on, with or without your permission. The greatest investment I failed to make was not in stocks, not in property, not in any financial instrument I spent my career mastering. It was in the people sitting right in front of me, every single day, waiting. I was wrong. And the cost of that mistake cannot be calculated, so now I speak to you, not to the version of you sitting comfortably, watching this and nodding. I speak to the version of you that goes home tonight and opens a laptop instead of a conversation. I speak to the version of you that tells your child just 5 more minutes and means 5 more hours. I speak to the version of you that cannot remember the last time you sat with someone you love and had nowhere else to be. That is the version that needs to hear this. You are running out of time, not in a distant, abstract way. Right now, today, this evening, the minutes you spend chasing something that will not remember your name when you are gone, those minutes are being subtracted from something that will. I am not asking you to quit your job. I am not asking you to abandon your ambitions. I'm asking you to look up. Just look up from the screen, from the spreadsheet, from the meeting that could have been an email. Look at the people around you. Really look. Because one day, and this day always comes sooner than we expect, you will look up and the room will be quieter than you remembered, and you will understand too late what that silence means. Miriam is in the next room right now. I can hear her moving slowly. She has difficulty walking now. We both do. But this morning, I made her tea. I carried it carefully with these shaking hands and I sat beside her and we watched the garden for 20 minutes without saying a single word. And those 20 minutes were worth more to me than every deal I ever closed. Every bonus, every promotion, every moment someone in an expensive suit told me I was exceptional. None of it comes close, not even close. I wish I had understood that at 35. I wish someone had sat me down, the way I am sitting with you now, and told me plainly, the money will still be there tomorrow. Your daughter's childhood will not. Your partner's patience will not. Your parents will not. Later never comes. It never came for me. Don't make my mistake. I have lived 86 years on this earth. I have shaken hands with powerful people. I have signed documents that moved fortunes. And the only moment I am truly proud of is this morning, the tea, the garden, the silence, her hand next to mine. That is it. That is the whole of what matters. So please, put the phone down after this. Not tomorrow. Not after one more video. Now, go to the person you love most in this world. Don't explain. Don't announce it. Just be there, fully, quietly, completely. Because that is the only currency that will still have value when everything else is gone. And you, unlike me, still have time to spend it wisely. Don't waste it.